Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Miss Kaylee. I need you to do me a favor and pause the video and go get your mom and dad. I need to talk to them. Hey parents, this week we are covering a chapter with some hard subjects. Please look at the screen and check out the things that will be discussed and decide if this is something that's suitable for your family and your children. There are timestamps in the description if you would like to jump around. So if you feel like you should jump around. If not, we're good to go. Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, what's up to it, kids? Shabbat Shalom. My name's Joey. I'm going to be your host today. And y'all, I hope you're having an amazing Sabbath. I hope you've been able to eat really good food. I hope you've been able to rest and enjoy and just celebrate this awesome day that Yahweh's given us. Well, today, we're going to be talking about a story that has to do with Joseph. Before we get there, I want to ask you a question. You ever got in trouble before? I mean, like, really got in trouble? I don't like it. I've been in trouble before. I remember sitting at home, waiting on mom and dad to get home, just knowing it was not going to end well for me. And knowing that what I did was wrong, and being sorry for it too. Mom and dad had to correct me because what I did was wrong, and they needed to teach me the right way to be, right? That's what mom and dads do. They want to make sure that you're the best person that you can be when you grow up, and that you learn from your mistakes as a kid so that you don't make really big mistakes when you get older. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever got in trouble for something that you didn't do? That wouldn't be cool, would it? Well, today we're going to hear a story about somebody that got in trouble for something they didn't do, but they still got the punishment for it. But before we get there, let's get into our Sabbath school. We're going to have prayer, we're going to have song, we'll hear our story, and then we'll get to our moral story. I'll see you here in just a minute.
Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Vayed. Amen, amen.
Shabbat Shalom, boys and girls. I'm so excited to spend another beautiful Sabbath with you guys. Father, we just ask that today would be a blessing for every single one of us, that you would just teach us something new about you, that you would just show us something new and remind us of how important it is that we trust you every single day with everything we have. Father, we thank you that you're so good, so, so good. In your son Yeshua's name, amen.
trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Yahweh, but to trust and obey. Genesis 39. And Joseph had been taken down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, a Mitzrayite, bought him from the Yishma'elites, who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and was in the house of his master the Mitzrayite. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes and served him. And he appointed him over his house, and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be, from the time that he appointed him over his house and all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Mitzrayite's house for Joseph's sake. And he left in Joseph's hand all that he had. And he did not know what he had, except for the bread which he ate. And Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. And after these events it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has given into my hand all that he has. No one is greater in this house than I, and he has not withheld whatever from me but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim?" And it came to be, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not listen to her, to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in us a Hebrew to mock us. He came into me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came into me to mock me. So it came to be, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside." And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, "Your servant did to me according to these words," that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. But Yahweh was with Joseph and extended kindness to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Joseph all the prisoners who were in the prison, and whatever was done there was his doing. And the prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him, and whatever he did, Yahweh made it prosper.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is Miss Soraya.
Aaliyah, and Mountie Micah here to share another lesson with you.
Today's story took place in Egypt. So, for our nature lesson, we will be learning about a few Egyptian animals.
First up, we'll be talking about Dorcas gazelles.
The Dorcas gazelle is also known as the aerial gazelle. They are 1.8 to 2.1 feet at the shoulder. With the added height of their head, they are 3 to 3.5 feet tall.
They weigh between 33 and 44 pounds.
Yahweh made them specially to be able to withstand the harsh desert climate. They are able to go their whole lives without drinking. They get all the moisture they need from the plants they eat, though they do drink when water is accessible.
They eat leaves, flowers, and pods from several kinds of acacia trees. They also feed on the leaves, twigs, and fruit from bushes.
Dorcas gazelles are able to run at speeds of 50 to 60 miles an hour.
A single fawn is most common, though twins have been reported in Algeria. The babies are well developed at birth with fur and open eyes. In the first hour after birth, the fawn attempts to stand.
The fennec fox.
The fennec fox is native to the deserts in North Africa, ranging from western Sahara to the Sinai Peninsula.
The fennec is the smallest kind of fox in the world.
Again, Yahweh made its coat, ears, and kidney to work in special ways so it can survive and thrive in the desert environment, where it is very hot and there is very little water.
Its most distinctive feature is its large ears, which help it to dissipate heat and listen for underground prey. Have you ever noticed that desert animals have longer ears? Think of the jackrabbit, or Egyptian hedgehog, or the jerboa. The reason for this is the long ears work like a built-in air conditioner. The blood goes through the ears and it cools down before it comes back to the rest of the body, and that's how Yahweh made them to be able to keep cool. Speaking of long ears, that brings us to our next animal, the greater Egyptian jerboa.
An adult greater Egyptian jerboa has a head and body length of about 5 inches. Its tail is 8 inches. Its back is a yellowish brown or sandy brown, and its belly is white. Their back legs are very long, about 4 times longer than their forelimbs.
Their feet have hairy pads that helps them walk on sand.
The tail is almost hairless, but at the end it has a large tuft of hair. It is black at the base and white at the tip. They use their tail as a prop to stabilize themselves when standing, and they move their hind legs similarly to a kangaroo.
On the continent of Africa, the greater Egyptian jerboa is found in 4 countries besides Egypt. It is also found in the Judean desert in Israel and on the Sinai Peninsula.
The greater Egyptian jerboa is a friendly animal.
They live in burrows which are dug in firm ground and may be up to 7 feet long. They stay inside during the day, emerging at dusk or at night to look for seeds, shoots, and roots to eat. Sometimes their food is stored in chambers in the burrow.
They have between 2 or 5 babies at a time.
When they are first born, the baby's back legs are the same length as their front legs. When they start to move around, they do so by dragging themselves with their front legs. The hind legs gradually grow longer, and by the time they are 4 weeks old, they start to use their back legs as well. At 7 weeks old, they have begun to use only their hind legs.
So, let's see if we can remember some of the things we learned today.
What are some things that Dorcas gazelle eat? Great job! They eat leaves, flowers, pods, twigs, and fruit.
Is it true or false that Dorcas gazelle need 2 gallons of water per day? Wonderful! They don't need any water at all. They get enough moisture from their food. What about people? Do we get enough water from our food that we don't need to drink water? Nope, we need lots of water.
What is the fennec fox's most distinctive feature? That's right, the ears. Is it true or false that greater Egyptian jerboas have between 10 and 20 babies at once? Correct. It's only between 2 and 5.
How old are they when they are able to use their hind legs?
Right, 7 weeks.
Great job!
I hope you had a good time and learned a lot. I know we did.
I hope you have a good week.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, what'd you think about that story? Poor Joseph. Can you imagine getting in that much trouble and being punished that harshly when you didn't do anything. You know, I asked you whenever we first started, had you ever been punished for something that you didn't do? Have you? I remember one time when I was a kid, I sure did. I'll tell you about it. So, it was one time we had this movie that had just came out. And it was one of those things where Mom and Dad weren't sure if I should be watching it or not. So what they told me that night was, we're going to watch it and see if it's okay for you. If it's not okay for you, you can't watch it. But if it is, we'll let you know. And I said, okay, that sounds fair, because I know Mom and Dad are going to look out for me. So I went to sleep. Well, the next morning, I got up, went to school. I didn't even see my parents because we got up so early and went out. Well, I got home, got off the bus, went running in the house, and as I was walking past the TV, I looked down and I saw the movie, and I said, hey. And I went and I put it in the VCR. Yes, it was a VCR. If you don't know what a VCR, maybe I can get Miss Kaylee to put a picture of what a VCR cassette looks like right here. I don't know if she can do that or not. She might be able to put it up or down. But either way, it's what we had before we had streaming and before we had DVDs. It was VCRs. So anyway, I went and I put the VCR tape into the VCR player, and I hit play, and I went and sat down, got me something to drink, and I was excited I was going to watch the movie. And as the movie started to come on, it got just a minute or two into it, I remembered what Mom and Dad said. They said they were going to have to tell me whether or not I could watch the show or not. And I said, I better turn this off. They haven't told me I could watch this. So I went over and I turned it off. And I went outside to play. Well, later that day, Mom and Dad got home, and they looked down and they saw that I had put the movie in and that it had started. And they just assumed I watched the movie without telling them about it. And you know what? I got punished pretty bad for that. And to this day, I promise you, I didn't do it on purpose, and I turned it off when I realized that what I was doing was wrong. I didn't watch the movie. Joseph had something very similar like that. He didn't do anything wrong. He got punished very severely. Doesn't sound very fair, does it? No. So, let's go have some more fun. We're going to get into our Hebrew lesson. We're going to have a nature lesson, and then we'll come back here in just a minute.
Beten Gimel Dalet Hein Baben Zayin Cheten Teten Yoden Kaf Lamed Mem Nun Samek Ayin Hein Sade Kofen Resh Sinen Shinen Tav.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's Matthew, here to teach you all some Hebrew. In our story this week, Potiphar puts Joseph in charge of everything he had. In Hebrew, everything he had is kol yeshlo. Kol means all or everything. Repeat it after me. Kol. Kol. And yeshlo is an expression that means he had or he has, depending on the context. Today, we're going to learn some words you can use with this expression, but first, let's also learn how to say I have and she has. At the end of yeshlo, which means he has, there is a letter vav. Hebrew is read from right to left, so the end is on the left side. The letter vav makes the O sound and is an ending that means he or him. So the O in yesh lo is what makes it mean he has. Now let's replace the vav with the letter yud, which makes the E sound, and is an ending that means I or me. Now we have yesh li, which means I have. And the ending for she or her is a hey, which makes an ah sound at the end. So she has is yesh la. He has is yesh lo. And I have is yesh li. Now let's learn some words for some different foods you might have. Our first word is halav, which means milk. Repeat it after me. Halav. Halav. Next, the word for grapes is anavim. Anavim. And our next word is basar, which means meat or flesh. Basar. Basar. And finally, the word for honey is devash. Devash. Before we end, let's practice our new words and expressions with a few examples. To say he has milk in Hebrew, first we say yesh lo, he has, and then halav, milk. Yesh lo halav, he has milk. Now let's say she has grapes. She has is yesh la, and grapes is anavim. So she has grapes is yesh la anavim. Let's do one more. I have honey. I have is yesh li, and honey is devash. So I have honey is yesh li devash. This week, you can practice saying I have yesh li, he has yesh lo, and she has yesh la with the words we've learned today, or with other Hebrew words you can learn in other Trained Up in Torah lessons. I hope that you enjoy this lesson and that you all have a blessed week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. What a wild story we had today in Bereshit 39. Yosef really had a rough time, hasn't he? Today, we see he's bought by a man named Potiphar, then thrown into prison when his wife tells a lie about him. So not only has he been sold into slavery, he's now in prison for a crime he did not commit. In today's history lesson, we're going to look a little bit at what prisons may have been like when Joseph was thrown into prison in Egypt. We know that Joseph was put into prison with the Pharaoh's prisoners from Bereshit 39:20. It says, Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. Now, this could mean that this prison was nicer than the normal prisons or jails, since those who served the Pharaoh were usually held there to await trial or the Pharaoh's decision. This was a prison set up for only those that served the rulers of Egypt. If we take a very quick sneak peek into the next chapter of Bereshit, chapter 40, we see that this prison is actually part of the house of the captain of the guard. Now, we don't know if that means it was a basement-like structure, a dungeon type, or a building attached to the guard's house, or even what type of rooms they were exactly, but we do know that Joseph and the other prisoners were confined to that space. They were not allowed to roam about freely as free men, and we also don't know if he was made to wear chains or not as part of his confinement. There isn't a whole bunch of information on ancient Egyptian prisons, but we do know that prisoners were monitored, because at the end of chapter 39 we see there's a prison warden, and that the warden puts Joseph in charge of the other prisoners. Putting him in charge of the other inmates shows that they had a system of importance or hierarchy in the order among the inmates. There has been some evidence that old rock quarries were often used as jails. Typically, these would have been in a faraway desert area with little water around to help prevent inmates from escaping. It wouldn't be very likely that anyone would want to escape if there was little to no chance of survival. These areas most likely had an open type of floor plan with no bars or doors. And I don't think that this would have been the typical type of area that Joseph would have been in, since we do know that he was in a prison that was attached to a guard's house. Now, even though Joseph is imprisoned at the moment, I want us to look at how Abba is watching over him even though he's in prison. Just like when he was in charge of Potiphar's house and Yahweh blessed all that he did there, we see that Yahweh is blessing all that he is doing while he is in prison too. From Bereshit 39:23. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him, and whatever he did, Yahweh made it prosper. Yahweh is always with us, even when we're going through hard times. I hope you all have a blessed Shabbat. Shalom, y'all. Man, poor Joseph in our story. So far, he's been sold into slavery by his brothers, which was bad enough, but today we see that he's thrown in prison, and all because Potiphar's wife told a lie about him. Have you ever told a lie? Maybe you just told a little fib. Telling a fib or bending the truth can't hurt a little, can it? We're going to look at a story of two friends that both absolutely love to ride their bikes. Molly had a beautiful sparkly pink bike, and Bob had a wonderfully fun fire engine red bike. They both love their bicycles, and they both love riding their bikes together. One day, while they were riding their bikes, they stopped at Bob's house so that he could run inside to use the bathroom. Bob's mom came outside while Molly was waiting and asked if she would like something to drink. She said yes, please, and jumped off her bike to go inside and have a nice, cold drink. She was in such a hurry to get inside and have that nice, cool drink that she wasn't paying very much attention to her kickstand on her bike, and she didn't notice that it didn't extend all the way out to keep her bike standing up. And as she was getting close to the house, she heard an awful crash. Molly turned to see both her and Bob's bike in a pile there on the grass. She rushed to pick them up so that they could rush off as soon as they both had a drink. And that's when she saw it. Bob's beautiful fire engine red bike had a scratch all down one side. It wasn't a tiny scratch either, it was huge. Molly wasn't sure what to do. She felt awful because she knew she was in a rush and it was her fault that her bike had fallen on Bob's and caused this huge scratch. She also knew that Bob had not seen it since he didn't come rushing outside at the sound of falling bikes, and that his mom didn't see it either because she was already in the house when the bikes fell. Molly decided to think it over while she ran in to have her drink with Bob and his mom. Now Bob had saved all of his money from mowing yards just to buy that bike, and she kept thinking about how much he loved his bike. She truly felt sorry and bad about scratching it, but she also didn't want Bob, her best bud ever, to be mad at her for scratching it. So Molly decided to stay silent and pretend she had no idea where that scratch came from when they went back outside. Well, it didn't take Bob long to notice that huge scratch down the side of his bike. Bob was so upset. He couldn't believe someone would come by and scratch his bike and then just disappear. People can be so cruel, he said. Molly was sick and she wasn't sure what to do or say, so she just agreed with him and then asked if he still wanted to go do some more bike riding together. Bob was so upset that he didn't want to ride bikes anymore that afternoon. When Molly came by the next day and asked if he wanted to ride bikes then, Bob didn't want to ride then either. Molly tried to get Bob to go riding with her every day for 2 weeks, and Bob just didn't want to go riding. He told her he was still upset that someone had scratched up his bike and disappeared. He couldn't believe it was an accident because they could have just left a note or knocked on the door. He had worked so hard to buy that bike himself, and he just didn't want anyone to harm his bike further. So he decided that not riding it was his best bet at keeping his bike safe. Molly was devastated. Not only had she been the one to scratch his bike, now because of her, Bob didn't even want to ride his bike anymore. Another week went by and Bob still wouldn't ride bikes with Molly. By now, Molly was feeling awful. It was like there was something bubbling up in her tummy every single time she saw Bob. Even when she saw her own bike, she got those bubbles in her tummy. She knew she wasn't supposed to tell lies, but she had thought it was okay because she was so worried that Bob would be mad at her. She had not known what else to do. Molly prayed that night when she went to bed, and she asked Yahweh to help her to tell Bob the truth. The next day, Molly stopped by Bob's house and explained to him what really happened and how awful she felt about it. That it was an accident, and that she was so very sorry for scratching his bike and not telling him the truth. Bob was hurt. She could tell by the look on his face. But to her surprise, Bob told her that he forgave her and that he was glad that it had only been an accident and that someone hadn't stopped to scratch his bike on purpose. He even asked Molly if she would like to go riding together tomorrow after they both finished all their chores. Molly couldn't believe it. Bob had forgiven her, and he even wanted to ride his bike again. As she rode home from Bob's house, she thanked Yahweh for guiding her and helping her tell Bob what really happened. So, what do you think? Can lies hurt us? Can they hurt others? They most certainly can. They can even hurt other people that we care about and even people that we don't know yet. It can be hard to be truthful sometimes, but Yahweh wants us to be truthful with one another. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 11 tells us, "Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another." Have you ever been like Molly and told a fib or a lie? They're the same thing. I know I have. And it just makes you sick all over knowing that you've done something that you weren't supposed to do. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the truth when we're afraid of hurting someone's feelings or even afraid of getting in trouble. But it's important that we try to live just like the Messiah did and that we tell the truth also. And Yahweh is always with us, no matter what. I pray that you all have a beautifully blessed week this week. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
That was some pretty good stuff, wasn't it? I just love Sabbath School. I'm so grateful for everybody that puts in so much effort into making this, all the pictures they take, all the videos and just the time they take to make this special for us. Aren't you grateful for them? You know something you should do? If you can, get your mom and dad to go and put a comment down below this one inside of YouTube and say why you like Sabbath School. So you can say, I like to it because, and put it down in there, and I bet you it'd make everybody's day on the show. So, we're not finished yet. We still got stuff left to do. We've got our craft, we've got a song, and then we're going to get prayed out. Hope you have a great day.
When sin is knocking at the door, I will call upon your name. When I can't be strong anymore, I'll rely upon your grace. I'll run to you, the one who sees my heart.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Miss Shannon with another memory verse for you. This week we have Bereshit, or Genesis, 39:21. Let's take a look at it now. But Yahweh was with Joseph and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Bereshit 39:21. Okay, so now that we've read our memory verse, I'll take out a few words and you fill in the blanks. Pause if you need a little more time. But Yahweh was with Joseph and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Bereshit 39:21. Great job! Okay, let's do it again. Fill in the blanks as best as you can. But Yahweh was with Joseph and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Bereshit 39:21. Great job, we're almost there. It's time to try reciting your whole memory verse. It's okay if you can't do it right away. Just give it your best shot. But Yahweh was with Joseph and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Bereshit 39:21. Woohoo! Great job! So let's take a moment to discuss this verse. It comes from the chapter that we read today about Joseph getting sold to Potiphar and having that little issue with Potiphar's wife and getting accused falsely and thrown into prison. It seems like Joseph is just going from one bad situation to another, doesn't it? But the verse you just learned is pointing out something very important. That is, that even though all these bad things were happening to Joseph, Yah was still with him. So the next time you're in a bad or unfair situation, just remember that Yah is the one that's taking care of you, just like he's going to take care of Joseph, as you'll see in a few chapters. So once again, here's your memory verse. Remember to keep practicing throughout the week. I hope you have another amazing, blessed week. Shabbat Shalom!
Hey boys and girls, this is Miss Ashley with you again. This Sabbath day for Trained Up in Torah, we're going to do the craft today. And the craft is going to be Joseph in prison. And so what you're going to need are a pair of scissors, a flesh colored of some sort construction paper, and you can choose blue or brown or I suppose any color you like for the other piece of construction paper, because it's just going to be our background. And you're going to need some yarn for the prison bars, and you're going to need something to color with for drawing Joseph. And it would be ideal if you had a hole punch, but I do not have one that will work because you need the individual hole punch, not the 3-hole punch. So if you have that, that's great. If not, you can just use the scissors, which is what I'm going to do today. So let's get started.
This week our snack idea is tear apart cheese bread. Just like Joseph tore away from Potiphar's wife, you can pull away this cheese and tear it apart. We have a recipe in the description. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yahweh, thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful Shabbat. Please be with our next Shabbat. Thank you for everyone working on the videos, and thank you for Miss Kaylee working a lot. And please be with everyone on the rest of the week, so they have a good week. And please be with everyone and everything. In Yeshua's name, Amen.